Welcome back. It is a rainy Thursday afternoon. Today's project is going to be to get the greenhouse cleaned up, organized, and hopefully planted. Current inventory in the greenhouse is 5 flats of cool weather vegetables. This is Brussels sprouts and rutabaga and some cabbage. This is plants that I'd like to put in the ground probably another 2 or 3 weeks, but for now they're hanging out here. Some of this also, like the cabbage, as I mentioned before, is kind of my backups. Winter squash and pumpkins are looking great, ready to go in the ground. Last but certainly not least is this year's tomatoes. Another thing that really needs to get in the ground as soon as I can, and of course I haven't had time. Most of these are going to go in the main garden space. I do have some determinates that I'm going to put along the new fence that I did last week. The back section of the greenhouse I had planned on actually bringing the rabbits in. I was going to build a little rabbit tractor and let some of the grow outs feast on this area. I didn't get to that, so I'm just going to pull it and give it to them, and then we can get everything else cleaned up. All right, couple loads to the rabbits, mowed over everything. Doesn't look half bad. I think, just because I know this is going to be a battle all year, I'm going to probably go ahead, at least in this center area over here, and flame weed it. It's wet enough that I don't have to worry about anything else catching fire, and I think just to knock this down a little bit so that the grass pressure isn't as bad. This was an area last year that I completely let get out of hand, so no big deal there. Then I think we're going to do weed block. My hope is if I get weed block sections kind of to line up with where it's going to be next year. This will be a bed. This will be a bed, and then the path will be right here, as I mentioned before, right through the onions that I mistakenly planted. So let's do it. Okay, so that works perfect. That gives me, I don't know if you can see through there, that's the door of the rabbitry, which lines up with the new entrance gate on the south side. So this is all in line here. And then the plan, I think, is going to be to do a 6-foot weed block over here, which should get me about to that door. All right, as you can hear, we're getting some wonderful rain, and I think we're done for the night. So I got this area set up. I got everything pinned down. I'm going to let it settle as the heat builds and everything. I think it's just going to bake the weeds and the grass underneath it, which is fine. And then I can redo the pins so that it's a little bit more, a little bit flatter and a little bit more tight on the edges. Making progress. Planted peppers. This area in the middle is going to be a path, so I've used the access to the 2 rows of peppers, divided them by rows, so they'll be easy to identify what I have. And then I think I'm going to do the same thing over here, another 2 rows here with more peppers, maybe some determinate tomatoes, but I think I'm going to leave those for the center path here. All right, so that takes care of 90% of my peppers this year. I have a couple that are going to go over on this other side. That little section there between the wall and the weed block, the new weed block, that's old weed block. It's about right spacing for peppers, so I'm going to fill in there. The only thing left is the tomatoes. So probably the least organized part of the whole garden, but I need the plants in the ground. And I have a lot of 2s and 3s and smaller quantities. So it is what it is. I have stuff labeled so that as I walk through, when I get to the label, all of the plants in that row or that section before the next label are the same variety. So I think I'll be able to figure it out. Not ideal, but this stuff's got to get in the ground. Well, I think I can officially say that the greenhouse is planted. As always, thank you for watching. See you on the next one.